All right, we've got 3/4 of our walls built, and this is the point in the project where I wake up a little extra early, I bring the big rig into the quarry, and I pick up the 3/4 inch stone that's going down as our base. I get enough stone that we have a good start. Once we build this base up as much as we possibly can, we'll build that final wall, let it harden, and we can finish our base. So let's get into it. The guys are in the back leveling and compacting gravel, and I'm bringing some gravel in from the front. You can see a little bit of that drive grid off to the right side of the patio there, which is a stability layer that we threw in on top of some other gravel that we already had down. As we build up, we throw some more drive grid in. Again, it's a 15-foot wide by 150-foot long roll that we cut to whatever length our patio is. It has 3/4 inch size triangles that prevent any gravel from moving up or down, and the weight of all the gravel above it creates a net that really stabilizes any base that you put on top or below it. As you watch our videos and you see us building up gravel, you may see some metal 2x4s that we lay out in order to use the float feature on the Bobcat and the end of the bucket to smooth it out and minimize how much we have to rake gravel. It's very important to build your gravel up in 2-inch layers using a combination of big and small compactors to level and really smash things down. With 3/4 inch patios, the big compactor can become more of a disturbance than a value-added machine. So we only use it on a couple of layers above any piece of drive grid, and then we cool it until we throw down the next layer of drive grid. And we certainly don't use it on the last layer of the patio because it'll disturb the gravel too much and prevent us from laying our 3/8 chip in a really flat fashion to lay the pavers down nice and smooth. So the last layer is always just done with the small compactor to jiggle things into place. So we used up all the gravel I brought in the morning and the second load of gravel that Doug brought in the middle of the day. It's time to lay that 4th wall out so that we can get this patio knocked out. While the guys are working, Doug and I had a quick design meeting so that we made sure that we took the right measurements from the design and we laid that wall out in the right spot. We had to push back some of our existing gravel. We made a little pile of that, and then we started leveling the gravel in order to compact it down, get the 3/8 chip down, and start leveling bricks. In order to check our levels and make sure we got the gravel in the right place, Jose took a larger level, set it on top of a block, and ground it into the ground to figure out exactly where we need to get our gravel. We got Jose far enough ahead on putting the 3/8 chip down, and then I got Roberto started on connecting the wall in on the left side. We then put some guys on the wall on the left side and started laying out the pillars. Tapped them into the place, and it was time to start leveling things out. Once you've got every brick level on your first course, The rest of the wall is a piece of cake. It's just glue and drop and glue and drop. We tied a gutter from the low side of the yard in and ran it underneath the patio out to the higher side of the yard. So any rainwater that comes off the roof from that side of the house is going to go to the opposite side of the yard, which is much higher in elevation, work its way through the lawn before it gets to the lowest side of the yard, and hopefully collect and water the lawn along the way without saturating any areas. Once it gets to the lowest level in elevation, it'll be collected in our rain garden and used up by those plants. Any excess water will go back into the open grade base on the low side of the patio, but it will have traveled throughout the yard and hopefully been used by the right things in the right places before it even gets there. The next day after our walls were hardened, we built up the gravel base to its final elevation. Once there, we finished the seat walls and pillars to their final elevation because it's a heck of a lot easier to work on that stuff when the expensive brick pavers aren't down and you're not worried about damaging them. So if you're following and paying attention, the steps to building a patio are demo, excavation, gravel, retaining walls, and then you level your sand and lay your pavers. Not any other way. I know a lot of guys that make the mistake of putting the pavers down first and saw blades nick them, things damage them, and you run into a lot of problems. Get the bulk of your construction done before you lay the pavers. All right, 4 out of the 4 walls are finished, the fireplace is in place, and it's time to throw down the 3/8 chip and get the pavers down. That will be our next video. If you want to see this project finish up, subscribe to our channel, click on the notifications. Over there is a playlist that has all the videos from this series. If you want to know more about our company, that information is there. I'm Scott Flanagan. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.